Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. Nutmeg has been bribed with a treat stick today. I know these have become popular, these little wet treat sticks, but I didn't try them out with the cats until recently. I think it was Nutmeg's birthday. We went and got some. He's obsessed, he loves them. Saffron and Luna love them too, and I just don't understand why I didn't do this sooner. And he's very happy to be munching on this treat right now. So he'll probably do that for a little bit, but this is a video that I have done the past 2 years, so I figured why not do it for a third time, especially since it'll be coming out on New Year's Eve, and that is going to be my houseplant goals for 2025. So I went back and rewatched last year's video and I took some notes about the goals that I made for myself for 2024. And I like to think that I mostly met them. I did have some health issues, obviously, where I wasn't able to be in the plant room quite as much as I wanted to. And I dealt with some things like thrips this year, but overall, I'd say I did buy larger plants in terms of like the types of plants I went after when I was purchasing them. I of course made some impulse plant purchases, but I think it's bound to happen no matter what. One of them, obviously, the larger purchases, was this beautiful large anthurium from Wild Roots that I got at PlantCon that I was super excited about. I also was really successful with putting plants on poles. I have a lot of plants back here that got pole extensions or brand new poles this year. That worked out really well for me. I also didn't feel guilty about throwing plants away, and I had to do that multiple times for multiple different reasons. And it was very therapeutic to have a few dead plant clearouts and just give up on some of the plants that really didn't seem to have much of a will to live. So those were my major takeaways from last year's video. Now I'm going to move on to my goals for 2025, specifically for all of my houseplants. And I'm gonna let Nutmeg go because he finished his treat and he probably wants to either play around or take a nap because those are his two favorite things to do. So I really didn't want to repeat my goals for last year, so I really tried to come up with some new goals for this year, because I think a lot of my goals for last year are just general overall rules that I do have for my collection, and I wanted to be a little bit more creative with this. So my first goal for 2025 is to downsize the collection that I already have. For various reasons, I am struggling to keep up with so many houseplants, especially the small ones. So I would either like them to get really big, or I would like to combine the duplicates that I have. I do have a few duplicates, and it's just, I don't know why. I don't know why I have so many duplicates of some plants. So I just want to combine them because I think it'll be easier to take care of them. I have 3 golden pothos. I have 2 variegated Bretonnier Hoya. I don't know why. So I did a little bit of that in probably the summer of this year. I want to keep doing that because I just don't think it's necessary to have so many duplicates, especially when a lot of them are smaller. So I think that will really help out my plant care if I'm able to downsize in that way. And then of course, if there are any that are really, really struggling, I'm just going to toss them because that is the easiest thing to do. And going along with that theme, I want to buy less plants in 2025. I know that is going to be very hard to do because I'm sure there are going to be new varieties that come out. There are going to be plants that I just have to have. So I know this is a very hard goal to meet, and I don't know if I'm gonna live up to it. But if I do buy plants in 2025, I want to focus on larger ones, which is kind of a goal I had for last year, to buy larger plants, or I want to buy more common ones. I have some areas in the living area of my house, like my guest bathroom, like my living room, where I really have some pretty trailing common plants. And I did actually just buy one recently for my guest bathroom, my Jasenia pothos that you would have seen on my last plant shopping video. I think it's wonderful to just have a big, full, common plant that really looks beautiful. For me, plants are not about the rarity, especially since plants really aren't rare anymore. It's just about what can be the most beautiful plant that you have. So that is something that I'm going to try to do in 2025, is just focus on whether or not I want it or whether or not it's going to fit the needs for my space. I have a shelf in my guest bathroom where I just want to put a bunch of trailing plants and sort of make a living wall out of that, out of the trailing pothos mostly, and I think some Hartley philodendron. I also have the top of my Millsville tall, which is right behind me, that I would love to put some trailing plants on. Right now, I think it's just out of frame, but I just have my Thai constellation because it's not really that big yet. It got set back by thrips this year, so it didn't really grow that much. So I would like to move that elsewhere and put some trailing plants up there instead. I think it'll look really pretty cascading down the sides of the Millsville tall. And that's actually something I had when I lived in Maryland and I lived in an apartment. I had a lemon lime maranta trailing down the side. It was getting light from the grow lights on the leaves that were trailing, and it just looked so beautiful. So that is something I would like to do if I'm going to be buying plants in 2025, is buying more intentional ones, buying ones that are maybe more common, but that are just going to fit the needs of my space. Another goal for 2025 is to just start some of my plants over. I have quite a few plants right now that are on the struggle bus, and it's for various reasons. They had thrips, I got rid of the thrips, but now they look terrible, like my Monstera siltepecana El Salvador. I have moved it out of sight because it is so unsightly looking. It's alive and it's growing, but it just needs to be completely started over. And it has quite a lot of nodes. It is about 3 feet tall, so I need prop box space to do something like that, but it is something that I want to do. I would also like to start over my Bipennifolium Splash Gordon. It didn't have any pest issues, but the way that it was growing, it wasn't attaching to the pole. The leaves were getting smaller, they were getting janky. It just wasn't growing right. And so I kind of put that one in the corner with the Monstera and just said, you know, I'll deal with you later. And now it looks really, really bad and I need to completely start it over. So I have plants like that that just could use a fresh start. And I think if I can do that in 2025, I'll feel a lot better about the plants in general. I have this thing where if my plants don't look perfect, I just spiral a little bit and I feel really ashamed of them and I don't want to show them off, and then I put off caring for them, and it's this whole cycle. So I really want to break that, which I did do a bit last year. Like when I do my whole cabinet clean outs, it really breaks that cycle because then all the plants look really good. They're freshly trimmed. They just are watered, they're fertilized. And if I can do that with some of the larger plants that I have that really need that makeover, I think things in the plant room will be really good next year. I have 2 more goals for the year, and one of them kind of relates to my last goal, and that is going to be focusing on repotting and getting the right plant accessories for my plants. Just because I don't want to buy as many plants in 2025 doesn't mean there aren't things that I can buy or things to do with these plants. They're constantly growing. They need support. They need a new pot, and I like decorative pots and clear pots inside of them. So I really want to search out those things. I want larger ones. I keep saying I need 6 and 8 inch, and I probably need some 10-inch or larger pots at this point. I need more decorative pots. And I have a place where I get my clear pots. It's Propagation Diaries. You've seen me unbox from them before. So I have a good hookup for that, but I just need to find more decorative pots. And you guys have been leaving me really great suggestions. I'm going to check out TJ Maxx and Home Goods the next time that I get myself down to Austin and I actually have time, which is hard to do when I have a puppy and I can't leave her for more than 3 hours at a time. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go down there and do some pot shopping. Maybe I'll film it. Maybe I'll do a whole day of just pot shopping at all these random stores for planters for these plants, but that is something I really wanna do. I have been pretty good about trellising my Hoyas this year, so it's not so much about that, though I wanna keep that up, but I specifically wanna really be on top of repotting these plants because I've noticed when they get the repot, when they need it, they really thrive. And that is something that is so important. I think just as important as fertilization is that they're in the right size planter. So that is really, I think, one of the main goals for the year is to just keep everything in the right potting situation. And I think a lot of these plants will do even better than some of them are already doing. And finally, I feel like this is a goal that a lot of people can relate to, and it's just to get on a better watering schedule. I know it's really simple and it's really silly, but I'm just not always the best about watering. I think it's really tedious because I have this very small watering can for the plant room that is smaller than nutmeg, and it just takes so long to water. It is better now that I mostly don't do no drainage except for my propagations, so I don't have to water it and then drain the water out. but it still takes a long time. I really want to get one of those like pump sprayer things from like Home Depot or Lowe's. Maybe you know what I'm talking about, but I've seen a few growers use them and it just makes watering so much faster. And then I'd be able to target moss poles better, because for me right now, it is so hard to just get the moss pole wet once it dries out. And I think something like that would help quite a bit. If you use that, let me know in the comments. Let me know if it works for you, or if you have a solution that is different that you really like, because that is just something that I think would make it easier for me for watering. That is the most tedious plant chore that I just don't enjoy doing, is spending hours watering, and then I have to come back in and do it again and again. And the anthurium, I honestly have to water every few days, even the ones in the large pots, because it's so dry in here, and I'm also too lazy for a humidifier. So if I only really have to worry about my dozen or so anthurium, having to water them a lot versus the rest of the plants being good, because I can just quickly water them with a larger watering system, that would be great. And I think that would make things a lot easier in the plant room overall. And that means I'm going to want to be in here more. I'm just going to be happier with the plant room, and the plants are going to do better and just all the good things. But right now I am not watering as much as I should. I feel like I'm watering every 2 to 3 weeks, which is just not ideal when I have a lot of things like small Hoyas that just need water more frequently because they're in 2-inch pots. So they can't hold on for that long. And I also have a few Hoyas in fluval. So I do check on them more often, because I'm like, okay, it's gonna start draining the life out of this plant if I don't water it soon. But other than that, I really have let some of the watering go, and the big plants are fine with it, because like this Monstera Albo could probably go 3-4 weeks without water. But some of the smaller plants really aren't happy with me right now, so I wanna do better about that. So that's it for my recap of my 2024 goals and my goals for the new year 2025. I hope you all had a wonderful 2024, and wishing you a really great new year. Thank you so much for sticking around for another year on this channel. I can't believe it has gone by so fast, but I am so happy with the plant room that I've created. And for all of you guys for watching videos and commenting, it truly makes my day to see a sweet comment in the comment section. But thank you again for watching this video. If you like it, make sure to give Nutmeg and I here a thumbs up down below, and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks again, and we'll catch you in the new year.